Start the podcast. The podcast. What are you waiting for? Hello and welcome to Clearing the Creative. Let's clear the path for being creative and doing things that we know we want to do. That tagline is under construction. I'm sure I'll come up with something better later. Okay. Let's talk about reasons to start a podcast. And a few reasons not to. That'll be at the end. A wonderful, fantastic, amazing reason to start a podcast is you're feeling lonely and isolated. Having a podcast is so stinking cool. It gives you the chance to connect with all kinds of awesome people. It's an excuse to have conversations with people that you care about, and not necessarily new people, but it gives you an excuse to just sit down and talk for an hour to people you already know and care about. It's a chance to get more curious about them, to learn things about them and their journey and their process that you never even knew before. It's a chance for people to learn more about you and to care about you and want to see you succeed. There's something so magical that happens when you spend 45 minutes to an hour with someone you've never talked to before, and you're both sharing your hearts, you're both sharing your passions and why you're doing what you're doing, and you realize that you're connected, that you're on the same page, you care about the same things, and you want to see each other succeed. You want to see each other reach the people that you want to reach. It's a very electric kind of feeling. Another reason to start a podcast is that you're seriously invested in a subject, that you just love a theme, idea, hobby, political thing, whatever. It consumes you. You just want to talk about it all the time, and you run out of people in real life to talk about that thing with. If you really want to learn and grow and invest in a subject, there are people out there that are just as invested in that subject, that know more than you, that are happy to share about what they've learned and accumulated about that thing. It's an amazing opportunity to do that. And you have an excuse to reach out to people that maybe you had been too intimidated to reach out to before. But once you build up your confidence in having conversations, and you just send that email out, you just put that fishing line out there. I've never fished before. I don't know what I'm doing. You put that out there. Sometimes they say yes. And you talk to people that you never dreamed you'd be able to talk to before. And you realize, oh, they're just people. It's not that big of a deal. But it's an amazing thing. Fun fact. When I was podcasting, I had started podcasting a few years ago, and I'm on some Facebook groups for finding guests, and I connected to amazing people through just being open to posts, just keeping my eyes open. I got to talk to people who were in movies and in famous bands, and it blows my mind that happened. But it's all about just being open and being ready for whatever can happen. Another good reason to start a podcast is you're feeling adventurous. You're feeling ready for a challenge. You're like, you know what? I've done a bunch of other things, but now I have this time on my hands and I want to do this. I'm just talking about being ready for a challenge, ready for growth, ready for connection. When you're feeling that feeling that you can't get this idea out of your head, you're just this little niggling voice that's like, start that podcast, do it. Start the podcast. The podcast. What are you waiting for? That little voice. And now, we're at the 2 reasons not to. Well, I'm sure we could come up with more, but this is the 2 I've got. The first reason you should not start a podcast: to do impressions of Sean Connery. Oh, me. The reasons not to. 1, to get rich quick. It's not gonna happen. You shouldn't do any creative project to get rich quick. It takes investment. It takes heart. It takes a bit of a degree of luck to get noticed. It's really got to be for yourself in that sense, for the first while. And if you're in it to make money, then you need to go in it with a business plan and get mentored in that direction. But here is the main reason you should not start a podcast. Because you don't think you can. Psych! Yeah, not knowing how to do something doesn't mean it's impossible. And I don't know if that is something that you've struggled with in your past, but I sure have, of being intimidated to the point of tears about things that I don't know how to do. And there is hope. There is help. You don't have to let things stop you from your dream. If podcasting is a dream that you have, then you should follow through on it. If you don't think you can, I'm going to give you some practical help in the next videos. And when you look at the steps that are involved in starting a podcast, make notes of which things just seem too overwhelming and too confusing and just, nope, nah. I feel nope, nah, about like starting a website. That's too complicated for me. I need help with that. But that's okay. When it's time for that, when I'm ready for that, the right person will come along and it will work. So, pay attention to the things that you know you will be able to do, and see what things that you think you can learn, and see what things you can delegate. With the right team, with the right confidence, with the right inspiration, it's all possible. As I've said, I want to be your cheerleader in this journey. I want to support you. I want these videos here that I'm doing for free to give you encouragement, and I want to invite you to be a guest on my podcast to work through any creative block that you might be having in your journey. If you want to hear more about that, you can check out this video here. Thanks for spending this time. I hope you will really listen to that voice that's saying, do that podcast. Do it. It's going to be so cool. Because it really is going to be so cool. You got this. Okay. Have a great day. Be awesome. You're awesome.